Batman Arkham Origins, so it's not hard to see why this comparison exists very quickly after it kicks. Although Gotham Knights makes it evidently clear that it's very much doing its own thing, not only its set. In its own separate universe, the way the game plays and is structured is also very different, and what's the end result? Well, it never touches the heights of the Arkham games, but Gotham Knights has plenty going for it. It's not outstanding, and in many ways it feels like it's crossing items of the how to make a modern AAA open world game. At least by though it might not be spectacular, there's a still very good game here within the first few minutes of the game's beginning. Batman dies, and yes, he really does die. We see it happen. On screen we see his body, and there's a funeral, and with the death of the kept across the Gotham City is on the brink of chaos. Criminals, gangs, and supervillains are getting bolder and more brazen in their activities, and even GCPD hasn't been much of help in recent times since the death of Commissioner James Gordon. Yes, has also that to carry forward their mentor's legacy and protect the city. It has wake Nightwing, Batgirl, Red Hood, and Robin. The titular Knights step forward and begin investigating the final case Batman was working on, which leads them right to the doorstep of the Court of Owls, a shadowy, all-powerful organization that has been relishing Gotham and sowing corruption from behind the scenes. For centuries, Gotham Knights' story is easily one of its biggest strengths, and the Court of Owls is hugely responsible for that, so the Court is a fairly new addition to the Batman universe and hasn't broken into mainstream popularity just yet. It's become a fan favorite in the decade or so it's been around, and it's not surprising at all that yet another story that makes the villainous group in its enterprise has turned out to be such a strong one. Plenty of other well-known villains from the Batman Request gallery make an appearance as well, including the likes of Penguin, Harley Quinn, the League of Shadows, and more, which only adds the narrative strength for fans of this universe. There's plenty of enjoyment to be had on the moment front where the heroes are corrected, though the cast of characters is obviously missing. The inherent charisma of the Dark Knight himself, those who have taken up this mantle, are solid protagonists in their own right. The younger heroes lend a relatively lighter tone to the more personal side of the story than the brooding Bruce Wayne, and while that may or may not be to your liking, the four protagonists themselves are easy to root for. It's fascinating to see them all dealing with their mentors' deaths in their one way, and the superheroes coming together in the face of a crisis isn't exactly a new premise. It's an attitude. Well, here again, though, a socially lighter tone, especially in some specific sequence, might to be what some Batman fans want to see when it comes to its central gameplay mechanics. And how it plays Gotham Knights ends up feeling like a much more by the numbers experience. That does not mean it's not fun, because it is, but there's a lot going on here that has become increasingly prevalent in modern AAA open world games, almost like they are all following slightly modified versions of the same recipe. You gain XP, level up, and spend ability points and multiply skill trees. You craft and acquire equipment and gear to ensure that your character has the best out. The open world is littered with collectible side quests and dynamically occurring crimes. There is no shortage of players who won't get enough of that stuff. More often than not, I'm one of them, so I can tell you that I did not have a lot of fun with all the immediately generic content. But Gotham Knights' implementation of those systems and mechanics in a bid to become an open world RPG does not feel very ambitious, and the game ends up losing a little bit of its identity. As a result, that said, the game does deserve credit for the variety of suits that are available for each hero and how excellent they all look. And yes, there's some swag when it comes to the combats. There's a lot of positive things to say about the game, and a few that are not so positive. Of the superficial level, Gotham Knights has a brawler style combat system that feels reminiscent of the Arkham games, in that you flip from enemy to land this wild dodging incoming attacks beyond the surface level. So the game does plenty to set itself apart. Successfully landing attacks and dodging blows fills up your momentum bar, which in turn allows you to use special abilities. Meanwhile, ranged weapons are also a major part of the combat, while things such as elemental damage and status effects also frequently come into play. For the most part, combat is a lot of fun in Gotham Knights. It does not feel as good as the Ark. So thanks for watching, subscribe.